Oh, my hearties! A very good evening to you, Dinky-Doo. It's just me, Scottie McClue, and we are, of course, live on the big one. Fantastic. So lovely to be with you. So much to talk about, so little time to do it in. And as you can see, the sunflowers are still with us. That's 3 weeks, I tell you. They haven't all survived, but a lot of them have. So here we are. We're with you. Hello, Scottie. Hello, silly boy, Dinky-Doo. Tell me if you can see my comment, because I can't see my live comments on my iPad. I'm on my mobile phone. See if that works. It works. I'll put down a Dinky-Doo to everybody, and we'll say Dinky-Doo. Dinky-Doo. Fantastic. There we are, Dinky. That's just coming up. How amazing is that? Fantastic stuff. They're asking you to send 10 super chats. That's amazing stuff. We like that. Thank you very much for that. I say to you. Right. How do we get rid of that now? I can't seem to sort it out now. I've started it. It's fantastic. Scottie, lol, Norman, and James. How lovely to have you with us. And Dinky-Doo, I say to you, we're back here. Ahoy, ahoy, everybody. How fantastic is this? I'm going to see if I can move a wee bit to the side so you can see the sunflowers. There we are. Which way am I going? I'll go that way and see if we can move a tiny bit along here. There we are. Is that? Can you see the sunflowers yet? Bit more. There we go. And we'll turn this round a little bit so you can see me. Fantastic. Wow. How good is that? Right, everybody happy? Can we see the sunflowers? There we are. Tremendous stuff. Right, we've got everybody coming on here. Lomai is here. Everybody, sir, from Northern Ireland. Thank you, Fearless. Tell us where you're watching from. Buzzing about the sunflowers, Scottie. Absolutely, Jamie. It's very, very exciting, as all these things are, I tell you. I wonder if I can get a little bit further over, and then I can see all your comments as well, you see. This is what it's all about, I tell you. Fantastic. We love that. Oh, yes, that's a lot better. Los Angeles here. Steve's in Los Angeles. Ontario, Canada watching. Dinky-Doo la. I like the Irish, the English, and the Welsh. Absolutely. And the Scottish too, yes. Hi, Scottie, dear pal. Hope all's well. Listening from the lovely town of Lindsay. Hi, says Jason. Hello, Jason. And Dinky-Doo to you. Good evening, Scottie. It's cold tonight, says Jerry. Jerry, very cold tonight. Lovely to hear from you, though, Jerry. Thank you. And the sunflowers are looking good, Scottie. Oh, amazing. 3 weeks, Susan. 3 weeks of the sunflowers. Have I gone the wrong way again? Can we still see them? We want the sunflowers. I tell you, let me see if I can keep moving things about till we get it just right. How's that, folks? Is that better? Yes. I tell you, we might move the sunflowers. How about that? I'll move them along near the lamp, and then you'll see them. We'll move the lamp a tiny bit, and the sunflowers again. There we are. Isn't that beautiful? And the lovely lady that sent me the sunflowers, she sent a little card with it to say that when the sunflowers can't see the sun, they turn to each other. Good evening from Cumbernauld. It's Big Baba here, Scottie, from the Strathclyde area. We love the sunflowers. I tell you, 3 weeks. 3 weeks of the sunflowers. I tell you, what is that like, guys? Just amazing. Good evening, Scottie from Scotland, says the wonderful Angela. Angela, Dinky-Doo. Bonnie flowers, Scottie. I tell you, still can't see them. You still can't see the sunflowers. Oh, this is just not good enough. I tell you, let's swap everything around. We'll put the lamp along here. Well, we've got Pegasus. We'll turn Pegasus, if you don't mind Pegasus galloping at us. There we are, and get the sunflowers along there. How's that? Anything better? Can we see now? Fantastic. Yes, we can. Wonderful stuff. We love that. Thank you. From Northern Ireland. I tell you, 67 years, absolutely 68 now, but you'll find that thousands watch by the end of the night. So I'll tell you, the UFO capital of the world, Bonnybridge. Watching from Lindsay King, Scotty. No, we can't see the sunflowers. Got yourself on the Dookers. The Dookers from Tarbert and Loch Fyne. How lovely to have you with us, and a big dinky-doo to you. Put the flowers in front of Pegasus. Do you think? So we actually put the flowers in front of Pegasus. So move the lamp. Let's bring the flowers down. Can we see the flowers there? And we'll move the lamp to there and put the flowers there in front of Pegasus. Is that better, guys? What do we think? Aren't they beautiful? 3 weeks. 3 wee survivors. They didn't all make it. Let's have it straight. But, you know, Numpty Heed was telling me, 2 weeks ago, he said, they'll not be there next week, Scotty. Go on yourselves, Scotty, I say, moan the Dookers. We love the Dookers and the grey gulls. There we are. Do the Dookers get on with the grey gulls? Aren't you glad it's autumn, winter, pheasant weather? What, for chasing them, eating them, shooting them? Scotty, I have something to tell you, Scotty. Lol, Ian and Dinky-Doo, for what you are telling me, I tell you. There we go, fantastic. Scott's sent me sunflowers. Is that not beautiful? You need to sort the lamp, Scotty's and Susan's. What's the lamp done? Oh, yes. Get the lamp going that way, just under the sunflowers. Bring them a little bit of sunshine. It's unlikely they'll be there next week. Let's just be, you know, quite clear about that, as a certain politician always says. Probably when they're about to tell you a whopper. You need to sort that. Well, there we are. We'll see about that. Neil, wonderful Neil O'Gormy. Good evening, Scotty. Good evening, Neil. How lovely to have you with us. Guys, if you're watching on the YouTube, a big thumbs up, please. There we go. A thumbs up and down to the bottom, and you'll see it on the left. So if you've got something to tell me, Ian, come on, spit it out, as we say in Scotland. I don't like Cumbernauld, says Robbie. Why? They speak very highly of you. Glasgow are losing. Losing what, Lloyd? I tell you, let's find out what's happening. I'm going back to Scotland next year. I think you should, T2. That would be wonderful. What's the topic tonight? The women drivers. No, Scott, we've moved on a bit. Do you know that was 34 years ago? Well, I'm in my 34th year. But there's big news. Probably an announcement about going back on the radio will be made within the next week or two. So there you have it. Now you know. All right. Now, no speculation. Joanne says the draw droppers. Well, yes, we had to sort them out. You had to kind of shame them into stopping it, Joanne. You know what I mean? That was what it was all about. I tell you. Have you been looking at all the TikTok and YouTube videos? And have you been subscribing? Have you been following? Have you been sharing? Come on, guys, you've got to do your bit. That's why we lose high quality things in life, because we get apathetic. There you are. In the rugby. Oh, we're losing the rugby, Lloyd. I tell you. Well, I've been discussing for the past 2 weeks with people online about the national anthem. And of course, the Scottish national anthem is God Save the King. And you get all these people going, no, it's not. Flower of Scotland. Flower of Scotland is a folk tune, a wee folk tune. I tell you, a nice one about two kings in 1314. So maybe it's time to move on a little bit. So you're much more modern with God Save the King. It's about 275 years old. Yes, Scotty boy, here we go, says user 145. I tell you. Now, what else have we got here, guys? Let's get your comments going. You can comment on the YouTube channel, comment on the TikTok as well. If TikTokers want to try out the YouTube channel, just go up to the bio and give it a tap. Dinky-Doo to you, Mr. McClue from Partick. We love Partick. We love Partick. I used to take a refreshment in Partick down at the old Windsor. I'll tell you, yes, wonderful stuff. So there you go, tremendous stuff. I don't take a refreshment now. Well done, says Mr. Man. You too, Mr. Man. So lovely to be with you all, guys. I tell you, this is huge. But big radio news coming, and it will shake the radio industry. Let's just put it that way. So amazing stuff. Now, can I get it saying I've got 169 watching on there at the moment? So 2,400 likes. Now, the record for likes is 41,000. So you can beat that. Who's giving me beautiful red roses? 4 red roses. Dinky-Doo to you, Mr. McClue. Well done. I thank you. Well done to you all. Thank you for your lovely gifts. What have we got here? Scottie, what's on your mind for discussion? Well, we could look at the national anthem. I listened to you on the radio years ago. Well, hopefully you'll be listening to me on the radio again. I think that's very important too, because that's coming out. So within the next week or two, guys. Now, we've got the phones. I'll open the phones in about 5 minutes. Dinky-Doo to the nicest man on TikTok, Bubba the Love Sponge. You are so very, very kind. Who is sending me more red roses? There's another 10. Who is it? I can't see who it is. What is your handle? Kind person. Morning, fellas. It's 6:35 a.m. Sunday morning in Kalunga in South Australia. Sounds like a Chris Christopherson song. Kalunga, Kalunga la, my lord, Kalunga la. Fantastic. We love Kalunga. Where exactly in South Australia is Kalunga? Yeah, are you a bushwhacker? I tell you. Scottie, are you a millionaire? I would say so. I might not be a millionaire cash-wise, but I am probably the richest man in the world because I get to talk to you beautiful people. How many of your so-called rich people get to do that? None? Well, no, the odd ones, they're creeping up on the YouTube and TikTok recently. I tell you, I think I've set an example. And people are looking at me and think, well, if he can do it, I can do it. So you get politicians coming on and everything. The king of them all is still the Donald Trump. We love him. Scottie, is that a photo of you graduating in the background? It is. Now, some people think it's a bit trumpet blowy to have photos of yourself. But in actual fact, it's not. These were presentations. There's Lord Reith the Labrador. He's the star of the show. Never, ever missed a radio show, that dog. I was going to say that wee dog, but he was huge. He wasn't fat. He was just huge. Big Labrador. Dinky-Doo, Scottie. Glenn from Blackburn, just returning from Coventry. Oh, who sent you to Coventry, love? Were you allowed to speak? Oh, no, I see what you mean. After watching the not-so-mighty Blackburn Rovers. We love the Blackburn Rovers. Yes, absolutely. Jack Walker stand. The Blackburn. Scottie has more money than Andrew Carnegie. Oh, I think nowadays, yes. I think if you toted up what I've got, what Andrew had cash-wise, I'd probably have the edge. But that's inflation for you. But no, Andrew did some marvelous things. I mean, all I would do with money, guys, is give it to you guys in some shape or form. I tell you, because we're not here forever. And as my lovely, lovely father, probably the wisest man in the world, actually, although he never pushed that. And he used to say, well, you can only wear one suit. I tell you, when I tell them it's actually Lord Reith's graduation, and I held the hood for him. Isn't he beautiful, guys? Look at the sunflowers. Look at the sunflowers. I tell them they're survivors. Now, guys, there's a lesson in the sunflowers. They are survivors. 3 weeks. A lovely lady sent me some sunflowers. 3 weeks they've lasted. Look. Amazing. There we are. We'll see what Humpty says when he comes on. You speak highly of your big dog. Would you get another wee dog for company? Well, after Lord Reith, we had Lord Clyde. Now, Lord Reith, as I say, was huge. You'll see pictures of him. Lord Clyde was tiny, the tiniest Labrador I've ever seen. Beautiful little guy, but one of both perfectly small, but perfectly formed. And he was a tiny little guy. And I couldn't speak highly enough of him as well. He also never miss radio shows. He was in there wondering what on earth was going on. I tell you, he used to jump between the wizard of the big switchboard and the lovable lassie. Guys, big news for McClue on the radio this week. So don't miss that either this week or next week. And we should be getting our phone number back as well. Can I have followers, please? We want 1 million followers on the TikTok and 1 million subscribers on the YouTube. So get on with it. Are Labradors your favourite dog, Scottie? Well, Sully boy, I was actually brought up with terriers, West Highland White Terriers, but they liked a wee bark, row, 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 row. When somebody rang the doorbell, my Labradors never, ever barked. And what I would do, I would ring my girlfriend when I was going to the park and say, could Clyde have a word? And she would say, oh, yes. And I would say, are you going to the park, Clyde? Oh, yes, I think he's telling us he's going to the park. And when I stayed in the hotel in Sheffield, I had the dog in with me, and some reps were leaving in the morning, and he gave a bit of a woo, 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 woo as they passed the door. But they never barked because they couldn't get a word in. Oh, very good, Scott. I see what you did there. Excellent stuff. But no, they never barked because they had everything they wanted. Their food was actually down all the time. And they went and had a wee munchong when it suited them. James 77 says, my nan had one of those. It was vicious. It bit my foot once. Yes, they could be. I had a great aunt. And one got a hold of my grandfather by the trousers. I don't think it was too chuffed round the bottom of the leg of the trousers, I hasten to add, but I think he was a wee bit dischuffed. There we are. Have you checked out all the new videos that are up? Very important. And tell 10 to tell 10 to tell 10 that Scottie McClue is live. Have we all followed? No, we haven't. Right. We need 500 followers right now. Get following, guys. We never ask for anything. But if you want to pop some red roses in, you can. We'll set up a little goal for you. And somebody's just given me red roses. I tell you, it says start now. What does that mean? If I touch that, will I lose you? Oh, a flash goal. There's a flash goal, guys. 9 gifters have to send me a summer sun. Right, there we are. And I'm going to pin it. That's it. So you've now got a goal. Right, 9 people have to send me a summer sun to go with the sunflowers. My wee dog's a Jack Russell. Funny, he doesn't bark. So friendly. He's 15 now. Very alert. Still jumps about. Great wee guy. I think dogs genuinely do reflect their owners. And if the owner's a wee bit of a kind of difficult character, the dogs can be difficult as well. But my dogs were never really stressed or anything like that. They were just having such a lovely time. Tail going all the time. So there you have it. Now, who have we got here? Opening the phone soon. What have we got here? What's your favorite opera? Oh, my goodness. I love them all. I mean, as you know, I worked in opera for 5 years. I'm just trying to think. Norma, fantastic. Puccini, Madame Butterfly, Don Giovanni, the Mozarts, the Magic Flute, you know, the Marriage of Figaro, all the, it's impossible to say. I love them all, you know. Now, who have we got here? Opera, very grand setup, very good, wonderful to work in. I was so privileged, I tell you. The same dog all their life. Cool, a lot of people stick to the same dog all their lives, the Sully boy. My cousin is always a German Shepherd. She had her 3rd German Shepherd right now. He's lovely. Well, I had a German Shepherd staying with me for 3 weeks, and he had such a lovely time. He said when he came back, he would bring his dog with him. So there you have it. Some comments, I love this, guys, on the TikTok. Some comments in the live were filtered to protect the community. That means that they've booted the wee trolls right doing this one, eh? Funny he doesn't bark, so friendly. As I say, he's 15. No, why should he bark if he's got everything he needs? Also, I think owners get tense and the dog picks up on the tension. And I think that the terriers are more sensitive to that. What's your opinion of Charlie Kirk's death? I think it was shocking. Shocking. So there we go. I tell you. Now, what have we got here? Glasgow spending 632,000 on revamping the statues. I prefer new modern statues. Well, Scott, I think this would be a good excuse to put a statue of Scottie McCLUE up in George Square. You'd have to put it up quite high. Because remember, people used to vandalize poor old Donald Dewar, who sadly, God rest his soul, has been away 25 years. I couldn't believe it. It was a shepherd and exchange student. Do you know, I had a friend went to London and he had to come back after a year because he could not find work. He couldn't find work in London. You know, mind you, as I say, he was a shepherd, you know. So there we are. You did make it, I tell you. Donald, you're 25 years. JC, that's a long time. Yeah, absolutely. I see. So there you are. Now, unfortunately, it might be difficult to make a statue of Scottie McCLUE because somebody told me, Scottie, when they made you, they broke the mold. So there you have it. That could be the next thing. Who else have we got? Fantastic. Guys, we're monetized again on the YouTube. If somebody wants to pop a quid in, you can now. You couldn't for a year and a bit, but you can now. So there we go. God, I was only 25 when Donald Dewar passed away. Yep. So are you 50 now? That would make sense, wouldn't it, if we did the math, as they say. It's just about time for opening up. I said we're going to open up the telephones and see if we can get you on. I can see your statue with a traffic cone in its head, Scottie. Oh, Sonny boy, surely the bonnet. The traffic cone belongs to the Duke of Wellington. Why have we got the Duke of Wellington outside a Scottish library? It's an interesting one, isn't it? How are you doing the day? Absolutely. I think they wanted to preserve the Union. The Union, when the Duke of Wellington was about, the Union would only be about 100 and odd years old. I tell you, Lord Wellesley. I watched a good movie. Scottie, do you know that Port Glasgow got voted Scotland's ugliest town? Yeah, but they didn't accept it, and they were quite right. You know, I've worked in Port Glasgow, and the people are just beautiful. Your thoughts on judges with a personal connection to extreme left politics? Well, I think judges will always have private politics, but they certainly should never be allowing them to mess with their work. And, you know, and that should be very strongly put to people. But that building was a merchant's house. Cough, cough, at merchant. Which building was a merchant's house? Oh, that one. Tobacco Lord. It was a tobacco lord. I'm trying to remember which one it was. And where did the sterling come from for the Sterling Library? I can't remember which tobacco lord had that house in the square there. Because Glasgow, I mean, cough, 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 cough. And then in the 1700s, you'd got Stephen Mitchell, who gave us the Mitchell Library. But the Mitchell Library, if I remember, was originally in Ingram Street. And then in the early 1900s, about 1904 or 1907 or something, they built the Mitchell Library over where it is now. Thank you for my beautiful summer suns, guys. T2 KFEA has sent me 20 summer suns. Yes, it's wonderful. So there we go. Aye, so Scott, there you go, Scott. I tell the tobacco bans, because we control the whole of the tobacco industry. And I started a business in an old tobacco factory, and a lot of the original employees were still employed around the site, and they were telling me the stories about the van coming to pick up the check with the duty. Yeah, absolutely. And these were real people, you know, real families, Player and Wills and all these folk. I tell you. But not, they weren't the Scottish ones. Wills were Bristol, two brothers. Was it William and Henry, WD and HO? And player, of course, was, I think, Nottingham. And that was John. So there we are. But Glasgow was full of tobacco factories when I was a child. I worked in a bakery. I got the stories of ice being delivered by horse and cart. Scott, it's amazing. When I used to drive the baker's van, there was a lovely old guy, one of the master bakers, careful. And he kind of limped and hobbled a bit. And I said to somebody, what's wrong with his? Are his ankles bad? And he went, he was a prisoner of war, a Japanese prisoner of war, Scotty. And they smashed his feet with a rifle butt, tortured him. And I worked with these beautiful people. And I found out that my boss, just as well I never cheeked up to him, was a main man in the SAS in the early days with David Stirling. So there you go, you see. Your thoughts? Oh, yes, my thoughts. I've given you my thoughts. I love this that we get nowadays. What are your thoughts? The Duke of Wellington was Irish, was he? No. Wellesley, well, his house is just outside Reading. You'd turn off at junction 13 on the M4. Wellington, and he had a state funeral, the Duke of Wellington, because of the battles, you see, going on, the Napoleonic Wars and the wars with France culminating in Waterloo. Wellington was your man at Waterloo. I love the old stories from that generation. Scott, so lucky to have that. I mean, my grandfather was born in 1881. He was the youngest of the family. I just found this one recently. His father was born in 1820. So my great-grandfather was born in 1820. And you must have heard me tell the story a million times, but I knew an old gentleman who, when he was a young gentleman, wrote to an old gentleman whose grandfather remembered Bonnie Prince Charlie walking about Rome. And Prince Charlie died, was it 1776 or 1786? He's buried in the Vatican. King Carlos. King Carlos. So there you are. So there's stories for us. So now all of you know an old guy who knew an old guy when he was a young guy, knew an old guy whose grandfather knew Bonnie Prince Charlie. And his grandfather was an old Scottish aristocrat, and he would probably be on first name terms with them. But they didn't speak in any great fancy way, the old Scots. They said, right, Charlie, how are you getting on? So there you go. Wonderland, Beatties biscuits. Yes, Malanda bread, Mother's Pride, fantastic. Some of the old bread companies in Glasgow, not forgetting the Co-op and the Gorbals. Yes, and M&A, oh gosh, that just slipped me. A lot of the bakers roundabout as well. The city bakers, the city bakeries. Fantastic. Numpty Heath's late tonight, Scotty. Susan, I haven't put the phones on. We're blethering away here, enjoying ourselves, and we're thinking, supposed to be a phone-in, Scotty. But you'll see a difference, Susan, when the new station starts. I tell you. Right, we've just got the phones up. We should get our old number back next week. So things are moving on apace. McClue's not just an athlete, guys. I'm not just spending my week being idle, you know. There's a lot goes on. I've got the red card. If Numpty Heed's out of order, red card. It's not very red, but it'll do. It's the sentiment that matters, isn't it? So the telephone number, you'll all be wanting the telephone number. I'll get that for you. Bear with me. Where's the telephone number? Right, 0333 335 6709. 0333. Can I move this over a wee bit? There we are. Fantastic. 0333 335 6709. Get on with that, guys, and we'll get you on. Come on, the numpty hoot, says Jerry. Jerry, you should be giving me a call as well. You know, it's all very well shouting, we want numpty heat. And what about Tops? Where's Tops? We're just coming up to halfway through the show right now. 30 minutes exactly. So we're not too bad. Combe is sending me red roses. Combe, thank you so much for my red roses. Guys, has everybody followed? Plus sign. No, you've not. We need another 100 followers right now on the TikTok, and everybody on the YouTube, please get subscribing. Don't go, oh, I don't do that. Oh, that rubbish. I tell you. Present and correct, sir. Tops were here. We salute you, sir. There we are. Fantastic. Give us a wee call, Tops. Have you got the number 0333356709? Wonderful. And I've had, for your peace of mind, Tops, I have never, ever, ever had any complaints about you phoning in. Greetings, Lord Scottie of Scotland. How are you doing, sir? Scottmas. The Duke of Wellington was Irish. No, we don't. Was he? Originally. Scottie McClue. Are you Scottie?
Good evening, Scottie. Tops were here, of course.
Tops, of course. Are we nice and clear?
Yeah, you sound actually really good just now.
Really good. Have you?
You never have to ask me twice to call, and I'll just
love the sound wonderful. Of voice. And well, I hope so. We love the sound of your voice as well. Everybody should love the sound of their own voice. I used to get really, really annoyed at people that when you put your head above the parapet, they go into criticism mode, and they used to say to me, when I was splashed all over the front pages of the newspapers, they go, "Aye, well, I suppose you'll be enjoying the publicity." You think, what? Yeah. What are you at, for goodness? Oh, he's only got one opinion, that's his own, right? And all the rest of it. But have they phoned in? No.
That's a classic Glasgow thing, isn't it? Oh, you think you're big.
You think you're somebody. I will see how smart you are. You'll fall out the other side.
Well, you said just before I phoned in that no one's ever complained about anything I've said. Let's see if we can change that.
Let's not. No, let's not. I want a quiet week because we're busy this week getting the new station up and running. And
just with one sentence, I could accomplish that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like we used to say about people, I could cut you dead with a look.
No, I wouldn't be anything clever. I could just a stream of obscenity, Scottie.
A stream of invective.
Indeed.
No, but I'll tell you the reason I said nobody complains is because you are a lovely call, and very often the people will let us know immediately. They go, "Get him off. This is really boring. What are you playing at, Scottie?" Yep, with all that. I'll tell you, with a lovely, lovely man used to ring us. I hope he's still with us. And he was RAF John. And he was absolutely beautifully spoken. And he used to come on, "Scottie, it's RAF John here." And all that carry on. And he said, "What is your full name?" I said, "John Scott McClue, JS." So stuff came into JS McClue at the station, beautifully written. And it would go on. And I would say, "Oh, RAF John on the phone." And everybody would light up, and he would talk about, I think you can still get all this on YouTube. He would talk about the Glasgow theatres and the heyday and people that he used to go and watch, and all that sort of stuff. And it was fascinating. And then as I'm going, "RAF John, I can't thank you enough. Good night now." Everybody say good night to RAF John. He goes off. Next call, "Scottie, you're gonna have to dump that bomber Jim."
Well, that's the thing about the internet. It's never short of opinions, and I won't quote it because I, despite what I said earlier, I do not want to get cancelled. But General Patton had a famous quote about opinions, which I'll just leave hanging there. You probably know it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, opinions. And I mean, quite often people will ask me, "Scottie, what would your advice be about this?" And I'll say, "Well, look, I'll give you my advice, but as somebody once said, the thing to do with good advice is totally ignore it." you know,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
there's a case for that as well.
The older some people get, the more firm they get in their opinions, and the opposite. The older I get, the less I know.
Well, I can remember looking at an old farmhouse, a cottage that was, let's say, a very reasonably priced, and I'm having a look at this, and I said, well, the only problem is the surveyor says there's this, that, and the next thing, and he said, Scottie, see, if you listen to surveyors, you'll never live anywhere.
Of course, yeah.
And you'll know yourself, the Glasgow Flats, well, you see, that area, there's quite a lot of mining, and we believe it's at an end. But there has been some settlement in the property, and this property could be 100 years old,
Settle and assessment, building assessments and surveying. It's more of an art form than a science, although they pretend it's a science. You would need NASA levels of probing and sensing in order to actually make a genuine assessment of a property.
Well, as one of the comedians said recently, your surveyor now will go, I'll just look up on the search engine what the neighbours one went for.
Exactly. And I was going to talk to you that there's been a lot of mentions of Cumbernauld the last few weeks.
Yes.
And there is a thing about Cumbernauld that I've been meaning to talk to you about. There's a very, very famous performance by the Beatles. It's in black and white. Most people will have seen it, and it's the very first time they played the song "All You Need Is Love," and it was played live in the studio in black and white. And that was part of it. It's the first time it was ever played. And it's a very, very famous bit of video. And it was performed as part of a 24-hour satellite link-up in 1967, I think it was.
Wow.
And it was the first ever international satellite broadcast in each time zone. It was for 24 hours, and each time zone would have a different contribution. Now, the Beatles was the last one at the end of the 24 because it started in Britain. But what people don't realise is the first broadcast of this 24 hours, this was being broadcast all around the world, was a film about the new town of Cumbernauld.
Oh, Cumbernauld.
And honestly, it's about half an hour about blooming Nold. And that's the way we showcase Britain.
Well, they were very exciting at the times. I mean, they had boards for new towns, and I knew somebody that sat on the boards, a general, a very distinguished general in the army, sat on the board of one of the new towns. And when you had them, so what had we got with Cumbernauld, East Kilbride, Glenrothes, Livingston, where else was a new town? And they were mainly roundabouts.
Exactly. Well, I used to do surveillance for a living. So any job I had in Cumbernauld or Livingston or Glenrothes or any of these, it's entirely roundabouts. And you just try following somebody around 6 roundabouts and you'll get burnt.
Well, I know that Livingston, they've got names for them. So you've got the Lizzie Bryce roundabout. Was she an early witch or something like that? And another one is the something Deans. I'm trying to remember. And then Cumbernauld. And of course, you've got the old villages up at Cumbernauld and Skilbride, which are very, very nice.
They're nice, and then accidentally you get drawn into the roundabout system, and that's you're stuck on it for like 24
And when I visited somebody in the houses, because of course Gregory's Girl was a great thing for Cumbernauld, and when I visited somebody in the houses are very nice. Wee concrete blocks, but when you get inside, they've got everything you're needing.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, it doesn't surprise me that some old Sir Buffton Tufton military man was in charge of them, because so many of them look like military billets.
Irvin, here's Irvin Newtown. Yeah, there's another one for us. And Susan says, I remember RAF John. How fantastic's that?
Well, I'll let you go because we haven't had nearly enough BAMs coming in.
We need more Bam Bams, and we've just got the phones on, and you came on first, so we haven't had a Bam Bam yet. But what I was going to say to you, big news for McClue, an announcement within the next week or two. And we're going back to do radio. So we'll see. We'll try and go on, sir.
You have to give me the golden number so I get right through to the top of the queue.
Oh, I think so. I think absolutely. But the other thing that I think is rather lovely about it, and it's very exciting, to have had two careers, because I remember talking to somebody about, and he said, "You've had some career in the media, Scottie." And I said, "Do you think so?" And he said, "Oh, so some people 2 years, 4 years. The longest I've kind of heard of is 8 years." Right? So he would gone like that. And I thought of all the old newsreaders that we used to have, Kenneth Kendall and
Richard Baker.
Yeah, Richard Baker, superb. Richard Baker was probably one of the finest voices this country's produced. And I don't want to be cruel to anyone. No names, no pack drill, and I'll not even mention which broadcaster. But one broadcaster had an outstanding lady the other day. So I just had to send a tweet. I couldn't stop an X. I couldn't not, because I thought, no, this is great. And that's not a bad channel, from that point of view. But what we've got sometimes nationally is not a great standard of voice work. And it's all very well saying, "Oh, yeah, very good journalist." Say, "Yeah, but it would help if they could speak properly,
Yeah.
If they could be understood."
I heard there's a proposal to make people who want to emigrate here have an A-level standard in English. Well, that was on the National Broadcasters News website. I thought, well, perhaps physician, heal thyself.
Yes.
You could perhaps insist on at least an A-level in English.
Well, I'm learning all these new words. As I say, the latest one was gooferment. GOOFERMENT, the gooferment. The gooferment has been saying. And also, if you had an allergy, noots, NOOTS, watch for noots. Watch out for noots.
It's particularly evident at the weekend where they've obviously got the work experience training in, and oh my God.
Well, I don't like to be the smarty pants, but I could sort these things out in minutes. And
Scott, you love being a smarty pants, don't you?
No. I don't like to be the smarty. I'm not one for pushing myself forward, as you know. That's why we always have the world's greatest broadcaster, the first lord of the internet, and the world's most humble man, because it puts off the people. Oh, he's just blowing. He's like tops of he likes the sound of his own voice, And everybody should love the sound of their own voice. Do you remember the days when they brought in the wee cassette recorders? And when your granny and your Auntie Fanny would visit, you would record them and go, "Don't you dare record my voice, it's awful." And you thought, how they didn't know, what I mean? There was, "I'm going to keep quiet if you're going around with that thing."
Well, it sounds it. But I'm just last, like, I never blow smoke up anybody's fundament, but
of course,
you do. You talk a good fight, but you walk the walk as well, Scottie, because I was just thinking as you were talking about other broadcasters and stuff, and I mean this genuinely, if you were to ask anybody over the age of 40, 45 in Glasgow or Scotland just now to name a radio broadcaster of the last 30 years, they'd be very hard-pressed to think of a distinctive name, but everybody knows you from your radio days. It really is you're a cultural phenomenon, Scottie.
Well, they say I was a cult. I'll just check that, and before it goes out. But no, we had what I will say. My problem has been managements haven't got a clue, because they were all in their bed when I was doing my best work. And I can remember a managing director, when the results came in, they were through the roof. And all the other poor souls at the station, I was embarrassed, you know, people putting their radios off. There was one guy, 80,000 people put the radio off, you know, and the boss actually said to me, he said, I don't know what you're doing, but you're obviously doing something right. Now, bosses shouldn't say, I don't know what you're doing.
Well, there's an old sociological / philosophical proposition called the Peter Principle that you've possibly heard before, but I'll explain it for anybody who doesn't know it. And it's basically about how people tend to get promoted to positions of incompetency.
Yes.
Because someone will get a job at one level and they succeed in that job, so they get promoted. Then they succeed in that job and they get promoted. Eventually they get promoted to a position, usually in middle management, that they can't do,
yes.
but they still stay in the job.
Well, they still, yeah, they not only stay in the job, they shove them one up. You know, and sometimes, I mean, I've actually seen it. I've actually seen it firsthand, and it's somebody that you said, how did he get that job? Well, he wasn't terribly good at the cold face, you know.
Yeah, and you'll notice if a venture shuts down, you'll have seen, I'm guarantee you'll have seen this, when a venture does fail, usually because of the overweight with these Peter Principle positions, when the venture does fail, those people all have jobs to go to instantly.
Oh, yes, right away. They'll phone them right away. But I'll tell you what was funny. I once wrote a letter to a new boss, and I wrote this letter, and I showed it to a senior army officer who was a pal, and I said, what do you think of this letter? Is it okay? And he looked at it, he said, well, I wouldn't like to get it. Right. And one of the phrases I'd put in, you know, I know at the dizzy heights this may not seem important, terribly important, but for those of us at the cold face, foul air makes us reactive. Right. Right. So I put that in. I thought, oh, brilliant. So that was that. And that was it. When I met his deputy who'd read the letter, he grabbed my hands. He said, turn your hands over. And I turned my hands over. He said, they've never been near a cold face.
Yeah, like my own. I like to tell people I have the hands of an artist. They're actually more like shovels, to be honest. But yeah, that's what I say. Anyway, listen, I'll let you go and we can get some calls in. Remember, first call from America gets a Cadillac.
Absolutely. I'll leave you with this one. We used to say that about our teachers in the old days. If they had great, big, strong hands, you know, they'd maybe gone into teaching from working in the shipyards or something, and would say, who's your teacher? And you say, Big Jimmy, right? And they would go, I wouldn't like one round the side of the head from him.
Well, right, but just very, very, I know I always say this is the last one.
So this is our very, very second last one.
I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and the teaching profession was still full of guys that for some reason couldn't pick up a rifle in the Second World War. So they were all promoted through inability to be head teachers. There were loads of them in the 70s and 80s, useless head teachers. And they really were terrible, but, you know, as I say, for some reason they weren't fit for combat. So they just thrived and basically outstripped their female colleagues just purely because of their gender. It was very rare to have a headmistress in the early 70s, you know.
Well,
so the profession was clogged with these guys in the 70s and early 80s.
Incredible stuff. Well, I knew one, and he'd been a Lancaster pilot in the RAF. Well, it would be the RAF. Wow. And he'd done a lot of raids, you know, and he didn't mean this in any snide or trying to be clever way, but he was in the staff room one morning and they introduced the Fräulein, who was there to do her language assistant at the school. And they were talking and they said, this is Fräulein, so and so, you see. And the rest of it said, oh, yes. And where are you from? And she said, I'm from Hamburg. And he said, oh, Hamburg. Oh, yes, Hamburg. That rings a bell. And she said, you know it? He said, I bombed it twice during the war. And he wasn't meaning to cause offence or anything, but his colleagues just wondered, you know, how soon could the ground open up? And he carried on.
Frank,
he carried on smoking his pipe, you know.
Well, you know, see if I'd been brave enough to be in a Lancaster bomber during the Second World War, getting shot at, it's scary enough flying just now. They were flying in planes made out of canvas, built by women who hadn't been mechanics up until 6 weeks before, and they're getting shot at. Now, if I was in those things, I would be fearless for the rest of my life.
Do you know, Tups, when I was wee, if there was a news story about maybe a boat had gone missing or something, you know, a plane had ditched in the sea and there was a air-sea rescue mission, they would say, a Shackleton from the RAF is combing the area. And the Shackleton was, I think, originally a bomber, and I think it was based on the Lancaster.
Right.
You know? And we're talking about Lancasters. I mean, at least they had engines. My father was dropped in on Horsa gliders, and they had a terrible record. And he was a para. That poor man at 18, when I look at his war record, it's outstanding. He never, ever raised it. You had to draw it out of him. And he was dropped into all sorts of places. And I saw a picture that I've seen it for years. And it says Sola Airfield, Norway. And it gives a date, May 44 or something like that, right? So that meant nothing till I picked up this picture. And I looked closely at it, and there was a huge lineup of Douglas Dakotas, right? And I looked at the date and checked it out. You can do this, of course, with the internet. And it said that was the day or the day after that the Paras had secured the airport. So my father was dropped into this with all guns blazing at him, setting up radio outfit, and then obviously the order would come, because if you think about it, the Paras were a huge resource and a valuable resource. So they probably said, have we got the airport? Yeah, it's all secured, General. Right, get the Paras out now. And all these Dakotas would be lining up to fly them out.
Well, the infantry commanders, as a general rule, never want to get surrounded. But paratroopers, that's their job, is to be surrounded by the enemy.
Crazy stuff. I mean, you think in those days they would be landing and there would be gunfire going on all around you. Yeah, you know, just crazy stuff. And then he was dropped into Nijmegen and Market Garden to hold the bridgehead. And then, as if that wouldn't be enough to scare anybody, he was sent to India at the most dangerous time to do guard duty when the British were just about to leave. And then the last one they got him on was they sent him to Hiroshima just days after the bomb. So they're all walking about with all that radiation. I've got pictures of it. And they're all walking about. And then they went into Tokyo and played the bagpipes on the radio.
What a way to terrify the enemy.
And he was the mildest non-blowhard man you could ever meet. And I once crept up on him as a tiny. I sneaked into the room and he was watching telly with the sound fairly down, and he's smoking his pipe, and he's just having a quiet afternoon in his own. And I jumped up behind him and I went, boo, and put my hands over his eyes, right? And he jumped and he said, oh, don't ever do that. And I realized with his training, that could have been the end of me if he hadn't managed to hold on and think, whoa, it's just the wee fella. It's fine.
Yeah, but it says a lot for him that actually he wasn't, you know, he didn't take out his rage on you just for frightening.
Oh, no. He did sort of say, he said quite gently, actually, yes, you don't ever do that to people because you could give somebody a fright.
Right, Scottie, I'm going to split because we've only got 5 minutes left and we haven't had any bands or Americans.
No,
Cadillac.
The Cadillac seems to be staying in the garage for another week.
I know.
Dinky-Doo, Tups, take care, la. Great call. There we are. Our Tups for here, guys. Always a good call. If you wanted to come on, we've got another 4 minutes. So there you go. Can you sing, Jerry, a belter? Heading up to Errol tomorrow, Scottie. Have you heard of it? Errol, I know it very, very well, along the Carse of Gowrie. So there you are. Look up the history of the Earl of Errol. Yes, indeed. Absolutely. I remember going to a lovely wedding in Errol. So there we are, promoted on their own inabilities of Scott. Absolutely. I was in high school when Scottie had his show on Scott FM. Everyone used to talk about Scottie's show. How do they get radio listening figures? Is it a survey? It is, Scott. It's called RAJAR, Radio Joint Audience Research. And it gives you an indication of how things were doing. And I think we got to about 250,000 listening every half hour. So like 3 or 4 games going on at Hampden, 3 or 4 Old Firm games every half hour with one guy on the radio. Not many places you don't know, Scottie. Oh, Jay, we know a lot of places. Very good, says Carbolic. Did you like that? Carbolic. I tell you, Errol, up the Carse of Gowrie. Have you seen how many castles there are along there? It's amazing. Totswehe, was he a broadcaster or is he a chap you worked with on STV, the announcer? Oh, yes, no, his name was Gordon Roddick. He hasn't been in touch. Jerry, no, that's not Gordon, no, Tups. Tups was something secret, I tell you. So I can't tell you. So I don't tell you the thing. But Gordon, no, Gordon was, I worked with Boss. Well, Gordon, I would have said, was my direct line manager when I worked at Scottish Television, a very fine company. Are you 2 doors down? Sadly not, but I might get invited to do a wee role. With your knowledge, we don't need AI. Well, Scott, AI, I used to think that every vet used to talk about AI, but this is a different thing. I tell you, I can't tell you, Lord Scottie. No, I can't tell you because it's a secret. So there you are. And I've put a secret video up, so you'll see that today. On get these videos out there, guys. Everybody should be watching Scottie McClue. Who has more castles, Scotland or Ireland? Sully boy, I think I would ask how many of those are in repair. There's a good term for you guys. How many of these castles are in repair? I mean, Ireland is absolutely covered in castles and big country houses, but a lot of them abandoned, like Scotland. We've got 8 royal residences in Scotland, but a few of them have got no roof. Linlithgow Palace, is it not a royal residence? Falkland Palace in Fife, it's got a roof. Holyrood's got a roof. Holyrood House, Holyrood Palace, it's got a roof. Dumbarton Castle, is that not a royal residence? Tarbert Castle in Argyll, come on now, the Dookers. Is it not a royal residence? The Captain of Tarbert? I think the Captain of Tarbert used to be the commanding officer of the Argylls. The wife's taking me to a massive car boot sale. You must have some size of a car to have a massive boot. Up in Errol, I feel my wallet getting lighter already. Jay, yes, the missus will spot something and go, oh, Jay, is that not lovely? So there you are. I tell you. Oh, here we go. As always happens, they need you to sort it. That's it. There we are. Fantastic stuff. Can you be my honorary Scottish uncle, Jack? I would be delighted and honoured and privileged. Scotland, Cadsall Castle in Hamilton for starters. We have a lot of old ruined. Yeah, a lot of Lanarkshire, beautiful castles. I mean, Churchill's wife came from a castle in Lanarkshire. So there we go. She was a hosier. Guys, we're going to have to go. I love you all so much. Dinky-Doo. And of course, we are out of time, big style. But stick with us. Lots of great news coming up, guys, for Scottie McClue. Thanks, Scottie. Thanks, Tups. Good night, Scottie, says Susan. Good night, Susan. Good night, everybody. And thank you so very, very much. I love you. Dinky-Doo, stick out your tongues and say ta-ta. Bye-bye.